Hey, Shalom, Grand Rising, OCO, Halito. Welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. I am your brother Danyala, aka the Tropical Aboriginal. Before I get started, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to the God of Israel. I also want to give recognition to the Holy Spirit and recognition to Yahweh Shai. Many salutes, much love, much ahab to you brothers and sisters who are keeping the will of our God to the best of your abilities. I want to encourage you guys to send up righteous prayers, not only for yourselves, but for your friends, your family members, the innocent, and Israel, that the Most High will protect us, provide for us, heal us, and restore us. With that being said, welcome to the video. So this video is kind of overdue. I couldn't really help it just because of the time, and I had a lot of things going on at the time, but because we literally, my wife and I, we literally just got back from a 4-day trip, right? Road trip. We went to visit family in Louisiana and Mississippi. So yeah, we literally left maybe, I want to say 2 days after the eclipse. So the eclipse was on, what was it? It was on Monday. So Sunday I went to work. Monday I didn't go to work because I went to the eclipse. Tuesday went back to work. Wednesday went to work. But Wednesday afternoon, my wife, my son, and I, we hopped on the road and left to Louisiana. So we were busy. We had got a lot of our stuff ready, had our car packed for the eclipse. And then we had our car packed for the trip. So we had to take things out. We kept some things in there, like a bug out bag, just in case if anything happened while we were on our trip. We had to take things out, put things back in. Just busy, you know, the day after the eclipse. And like I said, been on the road. Seems like forever because the drive down to Louisiana from Ohio is about 15 hours. Well, it really depends. It really depends because it can be close to 13 hours. But it just depends really. You know, traffic and things like that. And the ride down was smooth. Well, nothing eventful happened on our ride down. But our ride back, there was some drama. So on our ride down, I'm gonna get to the eclipse. I'm just gonna fill you guys in on my week. So on our drive down, of course our son, he's 2 years old. He has only been on a road trip once before, and when he went on that road trip, he was only, I want to say about maybe several months old. He was under a year old when he went on his first road trip, and that was an unexpected road trip. Because that trip we went to Orlando. We flew to Orlando to visit my wife's mother and siblings because it was her birthday, and we had to get together in Orlando, right? And we went to Disney and all that. So after that, our flight got canceled. We went up in a hotel for a day, and we were supposed to go on the next flight the next day. They rescheduled the flight for the next day because it was a real bad storm. So the next day come, we get on the plane, and there's literally about like 20 planes lined up, and then they take us back to, well actually that was the first day. So first day we get on the plane, we board the plane, and there's like about 20 planes trying to leave at the same time. Mind you, out of nowhere, a storm comes, rolls in, and it starts raining, and all these planes are taking off, and somehow we got put to the back of the line. And I'm not sure if it was because there was something wrong with our plane. I think there was something wrong with our plane, right? When we got on our plane. This was in Orlando, about, I want to say little under 2 years ago, right? We got on the plane. There was something wrong with the plane. Something they had to do and check, right? So they took us back to the gate, checked. That put us all the way back in line because we already had we had several planes ahead of us before that, right? So then when they had to go back to the gate check on the plane, they put us even farther back. So by the time we're about to take off, we're like 3 planes from taking off. They canceled our flight because the storm was rolling in. It was real bad. So anyways, we got a hotel for the night. Supposed to come back the next day, hop on a plane. And we found out that plane got pushed out several days. And we're like, what the hell? They literally just pushed our flight back. It's like 3 days later, 3 or 4 days later, my wife, she says that happens in the industry, but that's very rare that they would push it back that far. Usually they'll try again the next day, or try to put people on different flights to get them to where they need to go. That wasn't the case. So they told us, it's like, hey, we'll refund you your ticket, and you can find your own way back home, or you can sit here and wait until like Friday. And I believe it was Monday. I believe it was Monday at the time, right? It was Monday, and they told us, hey, your next flight is until Friday. So we're like, oh, we're not staying here that long. So my wife and I, we got a refund, and we got a rental, and we made our way back to Ohio. Now it's about a 15-hour drive. And I was pulling it, going strong, right? And this was right when I became a truck driver. So I wasn't that used to driving for that long of a time, even though I've done it before. But I was switching out with people. Well, this time I did it by myself. So we made it all the way to Ohio, right? And when we got through Ohio, we were probably about an hour and a half away. We were down in this mountainous part of Ohio called, I want to say like Chillicothe. No, we weren't to Chillicothe yet. We were like in Logan County, right? Which is the southern part of Ohio. So it's like a lot of hills, little mountains and whatnot. And the whole time I'm strong. I'm going through. Of course, I have fatigue throughout the trip, because we started off around, I want to say noon in Florida, and we weren't projected to get back in Ohio until like 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that, or 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that, right? So we finally make it to Ohio. We are probably about an hour into Ohio's border, right? And my wife, she needed to use the restroom, so we went to like a Wendy's or something like that. We pulled over in town, went to Wendy's, let her use the restroom, whatever. And then after that, we got back on the road and we're driving. And I'm fine. I'm driving, doing my thing. I'm happy because I'm like, good, we're almost here, almost home after this 15-hour trip, right? And as I'm driving, next thing I know, I hear brrrr. I said, I know we're on the shoulder of the road, and we go off into, what is it called? The middle of the highway, the grasses, all that stuff. We're over there, like in a ditch, like, oh shit. And then I get us right back on the road. After that, I wasn't tired anymore. I woke up, that put me on edge. So my wife should never let me live that down. Because the reason why is because she kept asking me, do you need me to drive? Do you want me to take over? I'm like, no, it's fine. And at that time, I had just become a truck driver. I think I was a truck driver for I want to say probably about 6 months, 5 to 6 months at the time. So I was still, I was pushing those hours, as a truck driver, but I was still relatively new, not used to it. So anyways, that's when we were in Orlando. Now, I drive down to Louisiana this week. This past Wednesday, I drive down. We decided we wanted to split up into 2 days. So we were going to do 6 hours down until we got to Franklin, Tennessee, which is the halfway point. We had a hotel there. It was a nice hotel. We saw this True Blue Hilton. It was a nice hotel. Had a pool table, had a lot of activities and stuff there, but we weren't there that long. We literally got in, I want to say around 10 o'clock at night. We woke up around 5. No. When did we wake up? We woke up around, I want to say like 6:30, because we were supposed to get up at 7 and then go eat breakfast at 8. But my wife and I, for some reason, we were up early that morning. We woke up, we hung out, talked a little bit, went down, got breakfast, and then we got back on the road. And then we drove and we took the long way. We took the scenic way, which was, we went down Natchez Trace. So after we got out of Nashville, I want to say maybe about 30 minutes after Nashville, we got onto Natchez Trace. And anybody who's from like Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, y'all know about Natchez Trace, because it's a long scenic road. I think it's like over 200 miles, something like that. Long scenic road, and you're like literally in the back country area. Very different from the Midwest type of country. When I talk about country in the South, it's different. Yeah, you have fields in the South, but the South is more wooded than the Midwest is. It's different. I don't know how I can explain it, but it's more rural in the South. The South is not as developed as the North is, as the Midwest. Midwest is very developed. Even in our rural areas, like we do have like really slummy areas and stuff like that, but our rural areas are a little bit more developed, and it's not as naturey, if I will. And if we do have we do got a lot of nature up in the Midwest. Don't get it twisted. But we don't have a lot of scenic roads that go through our nature. And if they do, they're very short. They're not long. You're like literally, wherever there's nature, you'll have like homes and towns. Well, down there on Natchez Trace, as you're driving, there's not too many homes on that trail. Like there's towns if you take the exits, but it's a beautiful, very beautiful drive. My wife and I'm gonna actually be uploading some videos, some clips from the Natchez Trace. We have some videos that we took down there because there were Indian mounds down there along the road, the highway, Natchez Trace Parkway. So I took some videos of that, and of course I read the bullshit history. I was like, oh, that's bullshit. I called it out. So it is what it is. But we enjoyed it. That was our ride down. We stopped off in Jackson, Mississippi to visit family, and then we made our way down to Slidell. And it was a good visit. So anyways, on our way back, we leave at 4 because we're like, we want to get home ASAP, right? I don't want to do a whole lot of night driving. That was my thing. I don't want to do a whole lot of night driving. Like evening night driving. I can do morning night driving because I'm used to that. I literally get up at like 3 in the morning, right? And I'm driving, truck all the way up until maybe like 2-3 p.m., right? So I'm used to morning driving. I don't like late night driving because you're already tired from the day, and it can wear on you, because that's what happened to me on the Florida trip, right? So anyways, we leave at 4 a.m. We pack all our stuff the night before, and we leave around 4 a.m. in the morning. Everything starts off good, right? Everything goes fine. And excuse me, I'm up here burping. So anyways, as we are probably about 30 minutes into the trip, I'm gonna say about 35 minutes into the trip, I noticed in my car, okay, so first of all, my tires were low. And see, I'm from Ohio. I lived in other states. I lived in North Carolina. I've been around to different states. I've been to damn near every state, right? Ohio, we have some of the better roads in the country. Yeah, our roads aren't perfect, but damn it, our roads, our highways aren't shitty. Especially in the South, because I understand the South, the states don't have as much money as the North do, right? In the Midwest, we have way more money, right? So our roads are mostly taken care of. Down South, however, the roads are terrible. As soon as we got out of Ohio into Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, the roads are awful. So before I left, my tires were good, right? By the time I make it down to Louisiana, my tires lost so much air. Not even funny. Because you have a lot of unleveled roads down there, and the roads are made differently in the South because they don't have to deal with the cold weather and the ice and all that stuff, right? So the roads are very different, made out of different materials and all that stuff, even different colors, right? Our roads are mostly like black, black asphalt looking stuff, while their roads on there are like brown, sandy color. They even have some of the gray and grayish black roads too, but it's terrible. And then some of the roads are like in blocks, right? So you can tell when they're repairing the road, they just do them in blocks. Very bad on your car. The roads down south are very bad for your cars. So anyways, it knocked a lot of air on my tires. So that morning when we leave, and I'm like, I'm gonna put some more air. I'm gonna put some air in my tires as soon as I go and get some fuel, right, for my car or gas. I'm using trucker term, but as soon as I get some gas, right. So I want to say probably like 5 minutes after I say that, right, I notice my car is leaning left heavy, and I'm like, okay, something's not right. Like my alignment seems so off right now because it's like leaning left. And I'm like, okay, something's not right. So because I'm literally pulling it to the right, and I'm like, okay, either something's wrong with the alignment or something's up the tire. So I'm like, okay, ASAP, I need to fill the tire, right? So we're just driving. Me and my wife, we're driving. We're listening to Big Judah. We just turned him on, right? And the next thing I know, that's what the sound the car making. I instantly, I knew what it was. I was like, it's a tire. Because I've had tires blow on me before. In other vehicles, semi-trucks. This is the first time on that car I've ever had a tire blow. So I'm like, oh shit. So anyways, we pull over to the side of the road, to the shoulder of the road, and we call our insurance company to try to get towing, right? Well, Sunday morning, around 4 a.m., no one's open. So we our insurance company, they're saying like, hey, we're trying to find someone within our network. We can't find anyone, so on and so forth. So anyways, I'm gonna shorten the story for you guys. We lose about 3 hours of our time because we had to find towing, and I still have to send them the invoice so I can get reimbursed for it. We had to find the towing, pay $200 out of our pocket to go about 25 miles back the way we came. We went to the shop, paid about $60 for a tire, 60 something dollars. I tipped the brother too. He was a good guy. His son is actually a rapper out of California named Filthy. I think his name is Filthy Rich or something like that. Anyways, but this brother, he owns a few buildings down there, and he actually knows my father-in-law. So that was kind of cool because he was like, that guy looks familiar. I know that truck. Turns out he's a friend of the family. So yeah. But yeah, good. He was a good guy and stuff. So anyways, we got on the road after that. Yeah, because my father-in-law, he came up there because we weren't too far. He came up there to pick up, his daughter with my wife and our son, so they can ride along. Well, we all rode along with him actually, and then the tow truck took the car to the shop, got the tire on, got back on the road, said our goodbyes, got on the road, and we were gone from there. And we drove. We was on the road for, I want to say, about 17 hours because we had to stop, get fuel and all that stuff, food. But yeah, no issues this time after the tire situation. But yeah, we're definitely not doing that trip again, at least anytime soon, because my son, the first day, he was terrible. He couldn't help it. He's a little guy. He's not used to being in the car. He went crazy the first day. Second day, he got a little bit more used to it. He wasn't too much trouble. And then the third day, our day coming back up, which was the full day, he did much better. He had his times where he cried a little bit, but he did very good. But road trips on children that young, it's hard on them, so. But anyways, getting to the Eclipse, right? So that was my week. That's why I could not make this video, because I was gone. I was on the road. So the eclipse. So our friend came into town, I want to say about a day or two before the eclipse. He drove here from Baltimore, right? And yeah, he's seen the bridge. That bridge is actually destroyed. The one in Baltimore that they crashed into. So anyways, he drove here 6 hours to us. And he came, he stayed with us because of course we have, 4 bedrooms and stuff. So we had a room for him. He essentially has a room, when he comes through. So he came into town, and the day of the eclipse was chaotic. They closed down schools, they closed down everything here. And our plan was, okay, it's gonna take about an hour and a half to get there. However, we're gonna leave an hour early to give ourselves that cushion time, right? Yeah, it's a good thing we did that because we only got there about 30 minutes before the actual eclipse fully rolled in. Because it was starting to come in as we were driving. Probably about 20 minutes before we got there, the sun and the moon started to, the moon started to cover the sun, whatever, right? So we leave about an hour early, and it was like trying to escape from a war zone. That's how I kind of felt because the highways were, especially on the northern end of the city, the highways were slowed down to a halt. I mean, traffic was bad, so we had to take back roads. We took back roads to get around the traffic all the way up until like Marion. Sorry, not Marion. I'm tripping. All the way up until Marysville, which is like northwest of Columbus. It's about 30 minutes northwest of Columbus. And we got around that traffic, and we was flying, like we was on like 100 trying to get up there. Just moving. So anyways, we get up there, we find a nice little spot in the country, and it's at a Dollar General market. And if you know anything about those Dollar General markets, they're pretty nice. They're really nice. They're kind of like grocery stores for rural areas. So anyways, rural areas love Dollar General. They don't have Family Dollars in rural areas, nor do they have like Dollar Trees for the most part. They have Dollar Generals. That's like their thing. Because even in the South, there was Dollar Generals everywhere. But so when we got there, we set up our chairs, all that stuff, and we're looking at the glasses because the whole time we were driving, I want to say about 20 minutes before we got to our location, my wife, she would look out the window with the glasses. She's like, "Oh my God, it's coming! I see it." So, anyways, when we get there, we brought the chairs, we popped the glasses, and we're all just blown away because we see the sun, or the moon, moving in front of the sun, and it was pretty dope. And when we got there, probably about 30 minutes after we got there is when the full eclipse set in. And I mean, like, it went from when you were looking through the glasses, it was like the moon was almost fully covering the sun, but yet when you took your glasses off, you could still see the sun fully. It was weird because the moon was fully covering the sun, yet the sun, like when you look at the sun, you see a full circle, yet the moon was fully covering the sun. It's just like, how does that happen? Like, that doesn't make sense to me at all. So my question, essentially, I'm saying, like, what are we looking at? Like, are we sure we're looking at the sun and the moon? Like, how sure are we that we're looking at the sun and the moon? Because that doesn't make any sense to me at all. If you take a ball and put it in front of the light, sure, you'll still see light around you, but you're not going to see the whole ball of light. You're not going to see the whole light bulb, right? You'll just only see part of it. But that day when I was looking up at the sun, I kept seeing the whole sun, even though most of it, I would say 90% of it was covered. When you look through the glasses, 90% of it was covered, but when you took the glasses off, you see a whole damn circle. You didn't see anything obstructing the sun when you took your glasses off. But I'm telling you, when it fully covers, I was looking at it, I was looking at it when it was almost fully covered, and then everything went black, and I'm like, what? Why everything go black? Take my glasses off, and you see this ring right here. You see it up in the sky with your own eyes. You're like, oh my God. And I want to say probably 5 minutes before it went total eclipse, because we were in the path of totality, right? It just got darker and darker and darker. I was telling my wife, I was like, it's darker out here. It's getting darker. And everybody's like, yeah, it's getting darker. It's getting darker. If you were in the path of totality, you got darkness, but you did not get the darkness we got. I mean, it was nighttime dark. Only difference is that if you look all around you in the horizon, you could see light in the horizon. So far off in the distance, because where we were was like flat cornfield areas, far in the distance, you could see light. But where we were, it was dark. It was like nighttime. It was darker than twilight. You know, like twilight hour, you know, when it's so dark, you really can't make out colors and stuff like that. It was like that. But it was darker though. It was like essentially almost nighttime. You know, because I know people, because it's funny, because when we got back to Columbus, we were talking to people who were in the Columbus area, and they was like, yeah, it got dark. Yeah. Because, you know, people who weren't in the path of totality got to experience a little bit. And it's funny because they brush off like, oh, it was nothing. It just got dark a little bit. That's all. I'm like, that's because y'all didn't go to the path of totality. If y'all went to the path of totality, y'all would have seen it. And if you were that close to path of totality and you didn't go, I don't even want to hear it. Look, because a lot of them try to downplay it like it was nothing. But it was a spectacle to be had. I'm telling you, like, it was an experience to be had. I've never in this lifetime experienced anything like that. That was fucking amazing. Like I've never, it felt magical. Like it felt like I was looking at the Most High. Now I know that ain't the case, but I felt like I was looking at an extension of the Most High, which is what I was. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, the Most High could just open this right now. That could be a portal. He could just pour out angels out of that right now. I felt like the eyeball, I felt like it was a giant eyeball of the Most High just looking at me. I felt like I was in a moment, like as if I was having a vision. Like I felt like I was feeling something like how the prophets would have felt when the Most High was dealing with them, speaking to them, you know, face to face, like with Moses. It felt like a little something like that. Like I was just getting a little piece of that when I was looking up into the sky. My wife and I, we were praising the Most High. It was beautiful, guys. I'm telling you, if you were anywhere like 2 hours within the path of totality, y'all should have made it there, because it's a once in a lifetime experience. Like you cannot believe your eyes. Like we had that totality for probably close to 3 minutes, and we're just sitting here just like, is this even real? Like I can't believe it. Like people in Columbus, because what our news did was very tricky and deceiving. They were put in the news that, you know, if you live in Columbus area, you'll be able to see the eclipse. So everybody's thinking that they'll be able to see the full eclipse, the ring, the diamond ring as they call it, right? What we see on the picture. But the thing is that they weren't. They were only getting like a fraction of the eclipse. So what they saw was, if they put their glasses on, they would see like the sun being covered up right through their glasses, which is really nothing. I mean, that's cool to see, but it's not the same thing as seeing the total eclipse with your glasses off and seeing that ring, right? So all they saw was that with their glasses, and they would get a little dark and then it was gone. So it's like, yeah, if you seen that, that's nothing. But if you went to the actual path of totality, man, I mean, when it went dark like that and the ring came out, everybody started cheering. Like you heard, I thought we was like in a rural area where there wasn't that many people. Well, obviously there was huge gatherings all across that area because everybody just started cheering. You hear it off in the distance, people shooting their gun, boom, 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 fireworks going off, all that, man. It was all that shit aside, it was amazing to see it. It really was. And, I know people have been hyping this thing up. See, me personally, I'm that type of person that I like to be prepared because you never know what will happen. Like, for example, not only when we went on, the road to go and see the eclipse, right? Did we take a bug out bag? But when we went on the road down to Louisiana, we took bug out bags and supplies just in case if anything happens, right? Now, I could have been more prepared than what I was, right? But I always try to be prepared no matter where I go. And you had a lot of people who I feel like fell for the psyop, right? Now, my thing is this, take everything you hear with a grain of salt, but pay attention, man. Keep your ear to the ground and try to, know what's going on in the world, because we don't want to be blind to anything that could happen. There's a possibility of anything. Like on a daily eclipse, something could have happened. And if you're sitting here just being a skeptic, about these type of things, you'll be caught up in some mess. I'm telling you, you'll be caught up in some mess. You ain't gonna be ready. So my thought is always be prepared because you never know what will happen, right? And like I said, I feel like a lot of people fell for the psyop. I feel like it was a psychological operation that happened, because you had a lot of people who were thinking the world was going to end, that there was going to be a rapture, this and that, and that was not the case. And I was telling people something could happen on that day, something may not happen on that day. You know what I'm saying? But I'm always going to be prepared because you never know what's going to happen. But you literally have people out here giving prophecy saying that on this day, there was this one sister, she Hebrew is like, she's kind of weird, right? She's like into a lot of things I'm not really into, right? And she's like, yes, brothers and sisters, on that day, I had a vision. I have a vision that on that day of the eclipse, that evil spirits are going to enter, dark spirits are going to enter into the people who are looking up into the eclipse and all this stuff. Like, she's trying to be a seer and all this. It's just like, stop it. Your prophecy fell flat. And all these other little people, these Christians and all these people out here, trying to say that, they're going to be raptured away. Like, why do y'all deserve to be taken? The whole concept of rapture is bullshit, but who are y'all to get salvation after all this damage y'all have done? I don't get that. Like, I understand there are some good Christians out here, right? There are people who are Christians who are good people. I get it. There are good people of all races. I get it. There are white people out here who have not harmed black people or done anything to undermine or to destroy black people. I get it. Even on a small level. However, as a community, the Christian church, they have done so much damage to the world that it's not even funny. How in the hell do y'all get this concept that y'all get to run amok of the world for the past few hundred years and get to go off into paradise? That makes no sense to me. But you know why they think like that? It's because they have been told for the past 100 years that they are God's gift to the earth. White, and I'm not saying this about all white people, right? Because there's good white people out there. But white people in general have been taught that they are God's gift to the earth, which is why they depict themselves as superheroes. This is why they depict Jesus looking like them. This is why they depict God looking like them. However, when you tell them that, hey, Jesus didn't look like this, God don't look like that. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Oh, well, he just, this is actual painting of Christ. This is what he was depicted to look like hundreds of years ago, right? With these Russian icons. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, does it? It can be rainbow and I'll still love him. I'll still praise him. Really? But after Christ was refilled by Putin, you went out here and burnt your Bibles and did all this other crazy stuff, right? I mean, it's ridiculous, man. They out here burning Bibles because they revealed Christ as being black, and then your prophecies about the eclipse fell flat. Like, I was talking to my wife the other day, kind of switching gears. I was talking to my wife just the other day when we was in the road, and I was talking about the Bible burnings and stuff like that. We've always heard about the book burnings from the past, and we have to understand that our history has been reconstructed, right? This is where we get the name the Reconstruction era from the 1800s. Allegedly, it was called the Reconstruction era because it was after the Civil War and the United States needed to rebuild everything, right? Actually, that's bullshit. Around that time was when we had many wars. They don't want to talk about it, but we had more than just a civil war. And you can read about these in books. You can read about the Yamasee Wars that happened around that time. In the 1700s, early 1800s, there were still wars going on, little bitty wars going on across the country and across the world. Around the 1800s, during the Civil War, is when they decided, hey, we got to rewrite history. We're going to reset everything, right? And they destroyed a lot of knowledge. So when you hear about these book burnings, and then you hear about these new eras like the Renaissance era, which is also known as the Reconstruction era. And then you hear about the Reconstruction era in the 1800s. These were just times when they were destroying knowledge and then fabricating knowledge or embellishing on history that was already there and altering it, right? So this is why, and they put so-called white people as in the forefront as the face of humanity, right? That they are the pinnacle of humanity. And the crazy thing is that before the 1800s, the people who were in power were so-called melanated people who look like me, right? These were your early Europeans, that were living in places like Charleston, Charlotte, Baton Rouge, these very powerful families in America. The ones who were fighting on both sides of the war for the Confederate, that were leading the Confederate. Check out the channel Straight Up. Check out his channel. His channel is amazing. Check out Caremio, because both of them expose that the early Europeans in America were melanated people. All these people that they tell you that were white, like General, I can't remember the name. He was a Confederate general. He was actually a melanated man. He was not what you would call a white man today. He was described as a black man. So was his wife, so was his generals. They were all considered so-called black men and women, right? And then somehow, some way, they came up with a plan to hide their hands and put white people on the forefront. And honestly, I'm not even sure if white people are truly ruling and that there's black people, because it's rumored that there are families, very, very powerful families that are ruling the world that are really black people. And I can believe that because we're the original rulers of Europe. For example, if you look at the Rothschilds, if you go back in their timeline, you will find black people. You will find out that the Rothschilds were actually black. Now, why I thought originally when I read that, found out that information, I was thinking like, okay, maybe the Rothschilds of today hijacked their name, their history, their legacy, all that stuff, right? But then I was like, you know what? They probably started to mix with Europeans, Caucasians, shall I say, and then that's how they whited themselves out, right? Because that was popular for some reason. If you look at a lot of the ancient, older paintings from, I want to say like the 14 and 1300s, you will see that these black rulers in Europe, they had a lot of white slaves and they were breeding with them. They were breeding with these white slaves and their white concubines, and they were whiting themselves out. It was like kind of like a fashionable thing to do. It was weird. But that's probably what happened to the Rothschilds. They probably bred themselves white, right? But yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying about white people, they think that they are God's gift to earth, so they can't fathom Christ being black, at all. They just can't. Most of them, not all of them, most of them. As a society. So whenever we try to tell them or we show them, I've been at the point where I'm done. I don't care about what heathens think or what the Gentiles think. I really don't. And it's not to be racist or anything like that, to be funny, but I really don't. I just want to focus more on our people. When I make these videos, I make it for my people. I don't make it for them. Now, if they want to chime in and they want to learn and stuff like that, I'm all for that. I'm all for so-called non-black Americans or melanated people to learn true history. I don't mind that at all. But when they troll and all that stuff, y'all can miss me with that. I'm not here for you guys. Honestly, I'm here for my people to wake up to who they are, because this is who we are. This is who we are. It says Negroes are. It says Negroes, the true American Indian. People don't see this. This is an engravement of a either Wampanoag. I think he's Wampanoag Indian. I believe his brother's a Wampanoag Indian. And it's faded, but he's melanated. He's a Negro. You know what I'm saying? That's who we are. That's who we are. You know what I'm saying? And if, so-called white people and non-Negro people want to learn, I'm all for it. It's all cool. But it's just crazy because they can't, so-called Caucasian people cannot see themselves as being less than at all, So that's why they depict Christ as being them. That's why they depict God as being them, because they've been taught that they're special. And that was a whole psych out, because the people who rule the world know that they're not. They know that we are the people. We are God's, chosen people. That's who we are. The so-called Negroes. It's not just all Negroes, but you get what I'm saying. I'm just generalizing right now. But we are the Most High's chosen people, And for these people to think that they can do all this damage to us and then just be, whisked away into paradise is utterly ridiculous. I don't get it, man. If you look at the Christian church history, I'm even talking about all the way into Catholicism, these people have done so much evil in the world. Like if you looked at, Christianity as a disease, they are cancer. They're a cancer that spread all throughout the body, and the body being earth, and just wreaking havoc and destroying. That's the Christian church. So it's like, how in the hell do you think that you're going to be taken away into paradise after doing all that damage? No, you got to kill the cancer. You got to destroy the cancer. You got to flush the system, right? You can't have that. It's just like pouring sugar in someone's tank. You got to flush that system. You can't just burn the sugar out and think your car's gonna be all right. No, it's not gonna happen. So yeah, just crazy, man. Sorry about that. A little congested. My allergies are really kicking in, but yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a psyop for sure, because you had a lot of people thinking the world was going to end, this and that, and it's just like, but it was done like that for a reason. Like I said, it was a psychological operation, because now people who were just getting into the conspiracy realm, now they're just going to be like, oh, it came and went, nothing happened. I'm not listening to this type of stuff anymore, because their thing is to discredit and to destroy the information community. They want you to get all the information from them, not us who actually have eyes and ears, and who are actually got our ear to the streets, right? And who knows what's going on. So what they would do, I'm talking about the government, what they would do is perform a psychological operation by putting a lot of shills out here, put a lot of agents out here, They get on TikTok and they're saying, "Oh, the world's going to end. This is going to happen. This is going to happen." Best believe they do that shit. They put agents out here, and that's what they did. They put agents out here, or they put information out there. Excuse me, to incite people. And then you have situations like this with the Eclipse, where people came up with all these wild theories that things were going to happen, and they didn't happen. And now you have people who are like, "Oh, I'm done listening to conspiracies. TikTok is full of misinformation and blah, 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 blah." So when real things do pop off, people aren't going to be prepared because they're like, "Oh, here's these crazies again. We don't want to listen to these crazies." So yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild. But yeah, man, yeah. Well, that is all for now. I will talk to you guys later because I gotta get started. I have a busy day today. First, I gotta go up here and make breakfast, for the family. Secondly, go out here, plant the rest of our stuff in our garden. Yeah, my tomatoes, sadly. Okay, so before we left, we had some trees that were supposed to come in, and that's what's in this box behind me. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a big long box about 6 feet long, right? And that's our trees in there, and they've been here ever since, I'm gonna say Thursday. They were supposed to come. Well, first of all, they didn't give us a date when they were supposed to come. I ordered them like a week before they came, and they said that usually they ship out the day after. Well, they didn't. They shipped out like 5 days after. They got here the day after we left. It was supposed to come the day we left, but it came the day after we left because it just kept pushing it back more and more for some reason. But they told us that they're good in those boxes for a few weeks, because they have like this gel stuff on the roots to keep them alive, just keep them in a dark, cool place. And of course, they're down here in the basement of the man cave, so they're good. But we did take some of our vegetable plants and put them outside. We transplanted them, and all of them are doing well except for the tomatoes. I'm not sure if it's the manure that's affecting them or if they just dried out and died, but they're in a bad way. And we planted probably about 3 or 4 of them out there. But it's cool because we have 4 more in here, and if I have room, I'm probably gonna plant some more, like start them from seeds, grow them in here, and then transplant them outside also, because we're still in that season. It's only April 15th, which is around the growing season time for us here in Ohio anyway. So yeah, so anyways, I can hear my son and my wife, so I'm about to leave in a second. So anyways, got that to do. The garden, got to mow the lawn because the grass looking crazy, and put our trees in, and that's essentially what my day is gonna be. So yeah, but anyways, guys, I'm up out of here. I will talk to you later. Peace out. Shalom. May the God of Israel bless all those who do his will. Shalom.